Palestine in more than a decade. The earliest infections earlier this month in Cairo has been a crucial step for national unity and reconciliation. We encourage actors in Palestine to continue their talks in a constructive manner in the issue.
Jesus Christ, fuck off!
We emphasize that elections must be free, fair, and inclusive. We echo the UN Secretary General's call on the community to support women participation throughout the electoral process. We urge the Israeli authorities to facilitate the holding of the territories. We also international and regional stakeholders to join hands to assist the Palestinians in electing their representatives and governments. Regarding the peace, Israel and Palestine, in line with international laws and UN resolutions. We have been delighted to see the new
momentum some more sex offenders. I enjoy pissing off sex. I enjoy pissing off sex. I enjoy pissing off sex offenders. I enjoy disturbing
the President Abbas National Conference, as well as other proposals that may bring new hope for the two-state solutions. We hope to see the quartet play a stronger and more active role in this process. All in the League Arab States to build momentum for the current policing change. Madam President, these trust building measures are particularly needed.
Nine News is live now, live. Minister for Finance, Simon Birmingham.
What you gonna do when them bullets fly by? What you gonna do when them bullets fly by? What you gonna do when them bullets fly by? What you gonna do when them bullets fly by? What you gonna do when them bullets fly by? Duck like a goose or snitch to the cops. Me, I cock back, let it go for the power. Bullets fly by like a breeze in the summer. Cold dog set FDLCTE, RIP, and KSP, HOTSHOT. ITSME, yeah, it's me. I let my bullets fly high, shooting at you niggas like kites in the sky. Blue beams, I'm killing this rap shit. So what you gonna do when my bullets fly by? When bullets fly by, when bullets fly by. What you gonna do when them bullets fly by? When bullets fly by, when bullets fly by. What you gonna do when them bullets fly by? What you gonna do when them bullets fly by? What you gonna do when them bullets fly by? What you gonna do when them bullets fly by? What you gonna do when them bullets fly by?
Every day niggas talking shit like they tough in the fucking street, but they not niggas.
On a jogué des ailes, qu'on ange, de dessiner pour nous le coin, et qu'on s'arrive à le mettre.
When bullets fly by, when bullets fly by, what you gonna do when them bullets fly by? When bullets fly by, when bullets fly by, what you gonna do when them bullets fly by? What you gonna do when them bullets fly by? What you gonna do when them bullets fly by? What you gonna do when them bullets fly by? What you gonna do when them bullets fly by? Pop, pop when you hear the clock. Love down, nigga, cause I'm in your spot. Give it up, nigga, you might get shot. I'm the hot shot, so you gonna get shot. Any nigga out here might feel the pop. My 9mm gonna make you drop. I talk about my 9 cause the shit's so hot. When shit goes down, he's ready to pop. He's stressed out, and I'm trigger happy. I gotta get to life, and it feels so nasty. Believe me, This shit ain't easy. I'm a nigga with attitude, so fuck you pussy. When bullets fly by, when bullets fly by, what you gonna do when them bullets fly by? When bullets fly by, when bullets fly by, what you gonna do when them bullets fly by? What you gonna do when them bullets fly by? What you gonna do when them bullets fly by? What you gonna do when the bullets fly by? What you gonna do when the bullets fly by? What you gonna do when the bullets fly by? Rough like a goose or snitch to the cops. Me, I cock back, let it go for the power. Bullets fly by like a breeze in the summer. Cold dog set every LCDE. R.I.P. and KSP. H.O.D.S.H.O.D.I.T.S.M.E. Yeah, it's me.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
I know, I played this song about 9, 10, or 11 times. I know. And watched. Oh, he's about to smoke it. Oh, 20 minutes of listening to Chink Kung Fu bullshit, call me frog, fuck shit. I know. It's the same things they blabble in the comments and everything else. Instead of watching something else, I'm going to make sure I get caught hanging out with pedophiles and child pornographers just to voice what? Nobody cares. Nobody gives a fuck about you.
Pop when you hear the block. Tough down, nigga, cause I'm in your spot. Give it up, nigga, you might get shot. I'm the hot shot, so you gonna get shot. Any nigga out here might feel the pop. My 9mm gonna make you drop. I talk about my 9 cause the shit's so hot.
Wow,
when shit
that's
goes down, he's ready to pop. He's stressed out, and I'm trigger happy. I gotta take the life, and it feels so nasty. Believe me, this shit ain't easy. I'm a nigga with attitude, so fuck it, pussy. When bullets fly by, when bullets fly by, what you gonna do?
Keep it up. 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 That entire track is on the drive. There's no internet connection, nothing.
What you gonna do when the bullets fly by? What you gonna do when the bullets fly by? What you gonna do when the bullets fly by? What you gonna do when the bullets fly by? Like a goose or snitch.
7 minutes to turn off the radio.
Let it go for the power. Bullets fly by like a breeze.
You're the ones watching it you hate so much. Why the fuck are you watching? It even did take 7 minutes. I didn't have to make 14 videos in a row. It's you making that happen. You get more and more mad. Keep it up. Keep it up. Show me my eyes closed and my mouth. For some reason, you seem to think I'm puckering my lips at you. I've got fat nigger lips because I really am black. I know you keep trying to tell people I'm white and you're black. You're just a pedophile. Nobody cares what color you are. They come in every fucking race. Everybody knows that. Are you fucking done?
What you gonna do when the bullets fly?
Let's turn off the radio again. Yeah, it's up and down the slow-mo show-mo.
Yes, if I would like to.
The radio? I've turned it off 5 fucking times now. Because I'm not starting the fucking music till we didn't start the music yet. It don't bother me. I've done the exact same thing every day for 3 cycles. I'm not going to catch up. We're never going to catch up to that. I've made $100,000 a year since the day I was born. Average. I don't give a fuck what you say. So we're going to turn this off again.
Tough down, nigga, cause I'm in the spot. Give it up, nigga, you might get shot. I'm the hot shot, so you gonna get shot. Any nigga out here might feel the pop. My 9mm gonna make you drop. I talk about my 9 cause the shit's so hot. When shit goes down, he's ready to pop. He's stressed out, and I'm trigger happy.
Remember, these simpletons' brain, when they get totally fed up, they ping the fucking sound card, whatever. And we make another video. I don't see how you're not seeing the point. If you stop me 20 times, there are now 20 copies of you doing that floating around out there.
What you gonna do when the them bullets fly by? What you gonna do when them bullets fly by? What you gonna do when them bullets fly by? What you gonna do when them bullets fly by? What you gonna do?
I just think it's amazing the lack of survival instinct. I think it's fucking amazing.
Like a goose or snitch to the cops. We are cocked back, let it go for the power. Bullets fly by like a breeze in the summer. Cold dog set FDLCTE.
Yeah. Nous la Gazelle, concours ange, le dessiné pour le monde, quoi. C'est qu'on s'arrive, va le faire.
When bullets fly by, when bullets fly by, what you gonna do when them bullets fly by? When bullets fly by, when bullets fly by, what you gonna do when them
Here we
bullets
go,
fly
jam up the
by?
internet somehow. Knock me off the Wi-Fi for a fourth time.
What you gonna do when them bullets fly by? What you gonna do when them bullets fly by? What you gonna
Because I
do
don't
when them
care.
bullets fly by? Pop, pop, when
You
hear
have
the
secrets
clock.
on your hard
Touch
drive.
down, nigga, cause I'm in your spot. Give it up, nigga, you might get shot. I'm the hot shot, so you
Yes,
gonna
somebody
get
looks like
shot.
a fucker.
Any nigga out here might feel the pop. My 9mm gonna make you
So
drop.
sex
I talk
offenders,
about my 9
sociopaths,
'cause the
and
shit's so hot. When
psychopaths.
shit goes down, he's ready to
So
pop.
sex offenders,
He's stressed
sociopaths, and
out, and I'm
psychopaths.
trigger
I'm gonna keep
happy.
telling
I
you,
got a
fuck off
different
for 20
life,
minutes
and
then,
it feels so
stupid.
nasty. Believe me, this shit ain't easy.
All right.
I'm a nigga with attitude, so fuck the pussy. Bullets fly by, when bullets fly by, what you gonna do when them bullets fly by? When bullets fly by, when bullets fly by, what you gonna do when them bullets? What you gonna do when them bullets fly by? What you gonna do when them bullets fly by? What you gonna do when them bullets fly by? What you gonna do when them bullets fly by? What you gonna do when them bullets fly by?
Okay, so
snitch to the cops. We are cocked back, let it go power. Bullets fly by.
Okay, so
in the summer. Cold dog set FDLCTE.
so we've established what officer. We've established what officer this one is.
I'm killing this
I'm not a fucking Canadian citizen, stupid. If it's not written in French, it didn't come from the government. Fucking if it's not written in French, it didn't come from the government, you fucking retard.
What you gonna do when the bullets fly by?
Yo, check caca.
Every day niggas talking.
I haven't
shit.
pressed any buttons in 5 minutes. I'm not
Like-
joking.
Tough in this mother-
Yeah.
I haven't pressed any buttons in 5 minutes. I'm not joking. I've skipped the track back 4 fucking times waiting for this idiot to get the point. I'm not going anywhere as long as we're still streaming. So, fuck it up enough, I start over, and I'm going to do the exact same thing every day I've always done. I'm going to make more money than you've ever dreamed in my sleep.
What you gonna do when them bullets fly by? What you gonna do when them bullets fly by? What you gonna do when them bullets fly by? Pop, pop, when you hear the Glock. Tough down, nigga.
Oh, 13! 13! Oh no! Oh no! 13! 1323! 1326! What does it mean? What are you showing me, slow-mo? What are you showing me, slow-mo? What are you doing, you fucking retard? You're calling on a network of people much larger than yourself, flying the pedophile flag. What is wrong with you?
I'll break you down like a phone-written haiku. Who you want lie to, boy, I crucify you. Hammer to the nail.
So that's 30 seconds of playtime is probably a minute and a half. Yeah, they just dump on whatever port to accomplish whatever they think they're going to do to scare us. What does 13 mean, you fucking moron?
My chin's fucking up, Scott.
Wow, you are fucking stupid. I'm not 13, you fucking moron. I don't have to live up to anything they say. I don't have to take an order from them. I don't have to ship them something. I don't have to buy nothing. I don't have to acknowledge them. So you playing that game is stupid. I'm not going to tell them, oh, it's cool between me and no. They're calling them out on my videos. You've done it 100 times. You got your own stupid little script kiddie way. And if you don't know what a script kiddie is, it's the wannabe gang member of the internet.
Get your house in order. MCs be
Oh, yeah, keep it up, keep it up. Oh, 15, what's 15 mean? He's going to do it again in about 20 seconds.
My acid flashback, got everything trailing. I'm sailing blind on the open seas, like an overloaded boat, a Haitian refugee.
And I'm not looking at you through the fucking screen, stupid.
On the rock, one more prostration, my salvation. My chin's fucking up, Scott is fucking up. The core of my flesh and my soul won't mesh. So lick a shot when I heat up the spot. I'm taking on a half, 3 to half knot. Lick a shot when I heat up the spot. Boy, where you run when the gun
For
get hot.
11 seconds on 15,
24.
You had it on 23 and your finger slipped.
Boy, where you run when the gun get hot.
Keep it up, keep thumping on the thing, it's okay. Toronto Lease Ice Squad loves this shit. Remember, you send the cops to my house. I disappear for a week. You think they didn't put bugs in my house, dumbass? And you're DOSing those bugs.
Down all around me. I thought I was lost, but they got you found me. I'm getting crazy at this suicide. Lord, I tried. To make the best of what I gotta keep taking pop shots from the critics and the media. That's what it media. But you can stick it where the sun don't shine. Cause I'm going for mine. I rock it all the time.
This is the level of human that attracts to me and has my whole life.
12 of the hottest TV networks, live and on demand. Stack TV. Watch now with your free trial.
22 years of non-stop internet access, 22 years of every day one of these idiots trying to email me, talk to me, blah, 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 approach me on the street, all this shit. It's so big and bad and scary. I'm more than twice that age now, and you still haven't done what you threatened me.
Mad flows like a pack of Eskimos on the dog sled in the blizzard. Cause I'm the wizard of shit, I'm about to wreck the set. And you step into me, it's just an empty threat. Something I can't sweat. Kids never see me worry. I never been caught, cause my hands ain't been dirty. 5 years was dirty.
Keep it up, buddy. It's not officially lit yet. Burn out your IP address, bro. Burn out your tunnel. Keep showing me my eyes closed, but I'm not closing them, dog. Keep it up.
And if you get bold, well then you get big. Cause your knowledge is a trick, kid, it's making me sick. Say, hey, now, come on, y'all. If there's money in your pocket and you're walking tall, make your way to the bar, get your poison chose, drink it old school style in your b-boy pose. Hey, now, come on, y'all. If there's money in your pocket and you're walking tall, make your way to the bar, get your poison chose, drink it old school style in your b-boy pose.
Do you go wandering around the ghetto and just walking into trap houses because the door's open? Is that how you think the world works? Again, my eyes aren't closed. I know Facebook has the same filters. Dell computers from 1992 have the same filters. You're not impressing anybody. You're not hypnotizing any little kids over here. That's, again, wow. And you won't fuck off unless I point out every time you do it. So you know it more, and then you burn out your IP address, your ISP, get mad at you.
Hey, now, come on, y'all. If there's money in your pocket and you're walking tall, make your way to the bar, get your poison chose, and drink it old school style in your b-boy pose. I got rhymes for finesse, I got rhymes for law, I got rhymes for peace, I got rhymes for war, I got rhymes for heads, I got rhymes for skin, I got rhymes, kid, your crew ain't got no wins. Step up if you wanna get your head cracked. Run up if you wanna get your skull knocked. Play the hard rock, baby, get your ears boxed. I'll kill you all
just like I was smallpox. The blanket naturally selected. But never fuck if you understand you have intersected at the wrong intersection with our arguments. I won't give a fuck who's tested. We pull out the Smith the West and start blessing them in each different pigeons. So give a fuck about the breadcrumbs. I don't think you understand. We up here looking dead and bombing your purpose. So we can merge this shit when it gets worthless. Cause the shit's worth it. To some worthless niggas like us, I don't think you understand. It's the niggas that we trust in when we bust. Well, this is where we try to cooperate with your advertising and it didn't work. Nigga tells eggs, equal finger in the gambling crate. And all the crazy kids with the rusty ass shakes, covered in shit. I don't think you understand. We need it.
Danny boy, you my brother to the end of time. The big boss, Ross, engineering the track.
Take any upbeat track, rock a song to drop and put it into something daft that you listen to on the cab.
My man Don X with a pocket full of stress. Get my man Diamond for when he kicks it out west. For my man J Disco and Fly Tie too. My man Frank Hall for the fat tattoo. My people's King M's and Mike Nardone. Killer Rob Clicking, kings of the microphone. My man DJ Lee, cause his beats are so stank. And these are just a few people that I wish to thank. Baby bounce to the rhythm, I'll be radiating static. Poets and addict, styles automatic. I love Asiatic, Japanese, and Puerto Rican. Every time I start speaking, I wind up breaking. Some little juicy naked in my jacuzzi. If you think I'm not juicy, then the joke's on you. You want the 411, baby, here's my style. I like a young run, the real freaking heavy foul. I'm known to steady whammy, young girls get creamy. Swing them through the road and then the apple gets steamy. You can't see me, I play the set note, scraping on the box, smoking pills and forgot them and I ain't too proud to beg for your leg, let me push them in the thighs and fertilize your eggs, let me make your nature rise along with your blood pressure, strip you down bad like your things on the dresser, while the children of the lesser, go on and play the hard rock roll, girl, I stay rock hard. So if I get mine, then you'll get yours. We can take it to the outside behind those doors. Rip off your stockings and drop your drawers. We can take it to the outside behind closed doors. If I get mine, then you'll get yours. We can take it to the outside behind closed doors. Rip off your stockings and drop your drawers. We can take it to the outside behind closed doors. You couldn't meet me half on half with that cream you stash. So baby, I burned in my desire for the half. It's hard for a brother to pass. It's so crushed. I be thinking how our next hurt get the thrust. But once I pick up, I'ma stick up the steam. Enough of this give up shit, baby, let's beam. Word to earth, check the scheme. I got the flavor saver too. Max so don't act for the style, let's blaze on back. Come pitch the bomb style. The next summer child. I know it's pop dukes, I got the means to protect. It's your
McCain Super Fries. Golden, crispy. Fries versus everything.
I'm not compliant.
Baby, because this for all them dirty bitches out there. Suck up all these motherfucking nuts. Say stop. Hey, what's that sound? Everybody look what's going down. I'm everlasting, forever on the road. I'm rocking to the most in gray monotone. I ain't saying I'm gone, but you can grab this. Chances are if I'm a star, I'll be Johnny Mac. This on some smooth shit. I'll be gaming all the honeys, hitting you hell no with this Playboy money. This check the Sunday bunnies. I'll be reading Doonesbury. See me at the dark club, shit be getting scary. I'll break you like Harry on the night in the prom. Let's keep it cool and calm. I'll start stroking your palm, work my way up your arm, start kissing your ear, maybe licking your lips, then pulling your hair. Yeah, I break the back spasm and give you orgasm. And if my legs cramp, girl, I lick that step. I got it some love, so you ain't got no worries. Hold up, wait a second, my vision's getting blurry. Stop. Hey, what's that smell? Someone lays dust all up in my L. Bitches start sweating once the pockets swell. Let's take it back 14 billion cells.
Periodic measures to say my rhymes. Too much of this dope Negro type slow of a poet. Straight, let me blow my leaves. Shake off my roots and pull up my sleeves. Break a branch of linguistic lyrics with a mystical. Your fancy, shake your chest. I transist the mist on MCs. I hem them and then I'm casualties. I smoke seeds, relativities. Seeds that I be irreversibilities of chaos, the higher form of infinity. Getting me virtually supreme ID. Reflectors and actors in which my faster phrase words super max break raps and ill scenes jump off racks. Revolves instead and still sees time still. I will for real build divine spherical chill.
I say stop. Hey, what's that smell? Someone lays dust all up in my L. Bitches start sweating when the pockets swell. Let's take it back 14 billion cells. Stop. Hey, what's that smell? Someone lays dust all up in my L. Bitches start sweating when the pockets swell. Let's take it back 14 billion cells.
It's this great Canadian baking show.
To sit down and actually write out a list of the MCs that meant it would be the Constitution. They play their caps backwards, still saying whack words. No power to throw her, just a few yes men. Raising the question of who gave you a contract. They should be fired, you officially retired. Then you make a little cash and start showing your ass. You get laced up with jewels, your crew's acting like fools. Playing hard, trying to be surrounded by bodyguards. Hoping no one pulls your card, you got me laughing pretty hard. Thinking you the white hot man of the hour, but you just can't figure how you flavor went sour. Back in 89, PE bought the power, and in 86, Big Daddy Kane was wrong. And I was right there on the first floor of the Palladium. You never played a venue, local college or stadium. A young boy's spitting bad fat is now a romance profession. To learn this is a blessing. The skills should have me guessing. Learn cause I'm testing. Follow this down, no question, no doubt. Check it out, you be rhyming in code on some gangster note. You all clockwork apocalypse, you bout to implode. Collapsing on yourself cause your whole foundation is built on lies. Don't apologize. Once they watch you rise, they want to watch you fall. And they'll all take pieces like the Berlin Wall. Place it on their mantle like a souvenir. And what they call a knick-knack is really your career.
You hear what's happening, the words are coming out. So, unless you're familiar with the track, you won't.
Foundation is built on lies. Don't apologize. Once they watch you rise, they want to watch you fall. And they'll all take pieces like the Berlin Wall and place it on
their mantle like a souvenir. And what they call a knick-knack is really your career. You ain't promised nothing but a pocket full of stress. Still there be people that would die for less. You ain't promised nothing but a heart full of sorrow. If they don't like the demo, make a new one tomorrow. You ain't promised nothing but a pocket full of stress. Still there be people that would die for less. You ain't promised nothing but a heart full of sorrow. If they don't like the demo, make a new one tomorrow. When the time arrives, I'll open the archives. When you be in dreams, you got 8s and 5s. Thrown down with the leather package. You got a home in your home, rolling 8.
Interesting enough, the was the language for Prokofiev's The Love of Free Corners, great response for the orchestra by Emily Vladimir Zelinsky. The music was accompanied by Enchanted in reference to the show's sponsors being live on soap. So here's the episode called The Courier.
The Equitable Life Assurance Society presents This is Your
Still,
FBI.
even though I got the baddest house on the hill. All them guns, you think we don't keep them still?
The official broadcast from the files of the Federal Bureau of Investigation. Presented transcribed as a public service by the Equitable Life Assurance Society of the United States and the Equitable Society's representative in your community. Effective young is George Murray, star of the new Rosie Rosemont production, Walk East on Beach, released by Columbia Pictures. This Atlantic motion picture, made with the cooperation of
What
the
is the
FBI,
purpose of what you're
reveals
doing?
the manner in which the FBI is carrying out its widespread offensive against espionage in the United States.
What is the purpose of what you're doing?
There are many examples in history of people who have given up freedom in return for promises of future security. This is not the American way. We Americans prefer to secure our future and preserve our freedom at the same time. For this reason, more than 5 million Americans have joined the Equitable Life Assurance Society of the United States of our own free will. Throughout the nation, the Equitable Society is represented by 8,000 insurance specialists. In about 10 minutes, I'll tell you more about these men and how they may help you solve your problems and enjoy the advantages of membership in the Equitable Society.
Let's put them all in. Let's put them all in.
Tonight, the subject of our FBI file, Subversive Activity. It's titled The Courier.
I bet it's about somebody who smuggles secrets.
Later this month, the American people will observe one of the most
Told they started from the war.
Memorial Day, set aside for the purpose of honoring those who have died in the wars fought to perpetuate our freedom. This evening, your FBI unveils for your inspection the case history of an American communist, a man who may be responsible for the future deaths of countless of his fellow Americans, if there should be a Third World War. This man was a courier in the atomic spy ring, a citizen of our country who espoused the doctrine of hate and became a traitor. His life testifies to the utter darkness of the communist way. And by examining that life, we see the tragic error of communism, a blight which saps the moral strength of a man and leaves him a helpless puppet.
Tonight's FBI file opens on a January afternoon in 1944. The place is a busy street corner in downtown New York. I wasn't there. I found out about this part of the story years later. I'm Inspector Young, assigned to the Federal Bureau of Investigation's headquarters staff. I wasn't on that corner, but a short, chunky, bespectacled man was. He was carrying a book with a green leather binder. He was waiting for a man carrying a very strange object in his left hand, an ink-stained tennis ball. After waiting a few minutes, the man with the tennis ball came along.
Only a few would understand and appreciate what's about to happen.
I'm Christopher. That's all.
tell your friend I may not be here long.
You just arrived.
Possible I'll be here a week, a month, or I may have to leave tonight.
For where?
Maybe Tennessee.
What's so important down there?
Our experiments. We're working on nuclear fission.
Really?
How many fish you catch with nuclear?
But I'm a chemist. I know what atomic energy would mean.
Better wait till the last.
Yeah.
How will I contact you in the future?
On the first page of this book, you'll find a phone number. Call there and leave word with John that you want to see.
John is your superior?
Yes.
All right. I'll call as soon as I have something.
With that meeting, the history of the world was affected. Dr. Pinola was a member of the team of European scientists, and Christopher was the code name for an innocuous-looking chemist. But both had something in common besides an interest in science. Both were anxious to help in the foundation of a new world, a Soviet world. They met a half a dozen times during the next 6 months, always in a public place. Dr. Pinola passed his papers to Christopher, who in turn kept an appointment with his superior, a man from an Iron Curtain consulate, a man named John.
Pardon me, sir.
Yes.
You're the match.
Here.
Oh, thanks.
Did you receive them?
Yes, he gave me some reports.
Where are they?
In the locker here at the station.
He give you the key?
It's in your book of mentions. Thanks for the line.
Whether he was meeting John or Dr. Pinola, Christopher observed one rule: caution. That was vital, for now the information Dr. Pinola was relaying was becoming more and more important. Everything was going according to plan, and then one day...
John, something's happened to the doctor.
An accident?
I can't find out. He didn't meet me this morning. I waited for 2 hours, and then I went to the alternate meeting place. He never came near either one.
Go to his apartment.
Oh, he's not there. The janitor says he left town, but he doesn't know for where. I thought he'd call you before he went anyplace.
He should have.
So what can we do now?
His sister lives in this country.
Oh, where?
Up in New England. Her name's, Mrs. Kermit. I'll give you her address. Go see her.
Just a minute.
Good morning. I'd like to see Mrs. Kermit.
I'm Mrs. Kermit.
Well, I'm a friend of your brother, Dr. Pinola.
Oh, well, please come in.
Thank you. My name is Mr. Christopher.
Well, won't you sit down, Mr. Christopher?
Thank you.
Do you live here in town?
No, I just happened to be going through. I called the doctor yesterday and found he left New York.
Yes, he's been transferred.
Where to?
Someplace out west.
Uh-huh. Do you have his address?
No, I don't, Mr. Christopher. You know Eric. He always keeps everything about his work so secret.
Yes. Isn't there any way you can get in touch with him?
Well, he said he'd right, but I guess we just hadn't had time.
Well, Mrs. Kermit, if I leave a message, will you get it to your brother when you do hear from him?
Of course.
Just tell him that Mr. Christopher was here. I'll write a phone number for you in New York. Have him call me.
A week went by, 2 weeks, a month, and still no word from Dr. Pinola. Then one day, in an office at the communist-controlled consulate in New York.
Hello?
John,
Yes.
Dr. Pinola,
Where are you?
in Santa Fe, New Mexico. I was transferred very suddenly to another atomic center near here called Los Alamos.
You should have called me.
I didn't have time.
Do you have any minutes?
Yes, and it's very important.
Get a leave of absence and bring it easy.
I can't. You'll have to meet me
Where?
here in Santa Fe.
I'll send Christopher.
All right. Have come to Santa Fe a week from today. I'll meet him at 4 in the afternoon on the Castillo Street Bridge.
Can't outsmart simple.
4 weeks later, Christopher went by train to Albuquerque. From there, he took a bus to Santa Fe. And now he used the caution he had been taught. He went to a store and purchased a city map. That meant he wouldn't have to ask anyone for directions to the Castillo Street Bridge. Wouldn't have to speak to anyone who might later identify him. Using the map, he arrived at the bridge.
Sometimes Google Maps helps me out.
Where are you going? The bus station. Jump in. Oh, thanks. You have the details with you?
It's on the list.
What's that?
Wait until I got to.
Why?
We're stopped. I'm entitled to have the money. You're not. Tell John he won't hear from me again.
Why not?
I'm going back to Europe. My work here is done.
When are you leaving?
Any day now. Nothing more to be transmitted. When these papers get to Moscow, they'll know as much about the bomb as we do.
We will return in just a moment to tonight's exciting case from the official files of your FBI. But right now, here's a message that may be of great interest to you. It's the experience of Mr. George Whitby, a member and policyholder of the Equitable Life Assurance Society. How long have you been a member, Mr. Whitby?
4.5 years, Mr. Keating.
Well, what was it that first interested you in becoming a policyholding member of the Equitable Society?
Accidental dismemberment.
Life insurance plan.
Accidental dismemberment. That's a good one to get.
Keating. It's interested my wife and me so much, we decided to find out more about it. So I looked up the name of our local Equitable Society agent. I gave him a ring and he dropped around the next evening. And he knew his business. He seemed genuinely concerned about our problem. He was more like a counselor than a salesman.
I'd say that's a good description of Equitable Society men everywhere, all 8,000 of them. They help you get the kind of life insurance that will be most advantageous to you. They believe that the best insurance service is based on a friendly, mutual understanding between agent and client.
Well, if they're all like our Equitable agents, they're a mighty fine bunch of men to do business
So
with.
this
They
is
really
like
are. You see,
basically how
Equitable
shit went
agents are
down during the Cold
specialists.
War
They're trained
years
men,
too, right?
professional men, who have chosen life insurance as a career.
And what
they
year
have
was
the
this
backing of
actually
a large
recorded
group of
about?
home office specialists. All of them are at the service of every Equitable member and prospective member. And that's a thought I'd like to leave with our listeners. Equitable Society men are good men to do business with. So, if you have a life insurance problem, if you're interested in the future security and the peace of mind of your family, consult the man who can help you most. Consult your local telephone directory for the name of your local Equitable representative. Or write to the Equitable Society, care of this station.
That's EQUITABLE.
The Equitable Life Assurance Society of the United States. And now back to the FBI file, The Courier.
Long after that meeting in Santa Fe, we at the Federal Bureau of Investigation learned that the basic secrets of nuclear fission had been stolen. I am not at liberty to reveal how we obtained that information, for security and human lives are involved. However, I can tell you the information was conclusive. It proved beyond any question that the secrets of atomic bomb construction had been acquired by Russia. Now Mr. Hoover called a meeting and issued an order. Find the guilty man. Do the job, he mobilized every possible resource. The case was given top priority.
Tom, we're getting a break on the atomic investigation.
What's that, Jim?
Well, we developed some information about a scientist who was at Los Alamos back in 1945. His name is Dr. Panola.
Is he still at Los Alamos?
No, he's back in Europe, so Mr. Hoover sent our information to the authorities over there. They just cabled that Panola's made a full confession.
Oh, good.
Well, he claims he'll cooperate, but he's only mentioned 2 people he worked with over here.
Do we have any records on him?
Yes and no. First name was somebody named John, who worked at the New York consulate of a communist-controlled country.
So where is he now?
Back in his own country.
Oh.
The other man Panola named was the courier who delivered his reports to this job. His name is Christopher.
Is that his first or last name?
Panola says that's all he ever called him.
Has he given us any description?
Yeah. Here's the cable with all the information.
Mm-hmm.
Study it, then we'll go to work.
The information supplied by Dr. Panola was this. Christopher appeared to know chemistry and engineering. He was from 30 to 40 years of age, about 5 feet 8 inches tall. He didn't know where Christopher lived, but he thought he was still in the United States. That meant your FBI had the task of locating a man whose name they didn't know, whose complete description they didn't have, and who might be anywhere in the country. In all the history of the FBI, there never was a more important problem than this one. The unknown man had to be found. Of that, there was no question.
Shot rumors in Canada.
Where do you start on a man
A lot of
hunt
this shit
where the
happened in
wanted
Canada.
person could be almost any man in the United States?
I'll find records of it anywhere.
Your FBI had a list of the places where Dr. Panola had remembered contact being made. One of those places was the home of his sister. I made that my first stop. Mrs. Kermit?
Yes?
I'm Inspector Young of the FBI. Here are my credentials.
Come in, please.
Thank you.
I suppose you're here about Eric.
Yes, I am.
Been those stories in the papers. They're true.
I'm afraid they are.
Falling off.
Mr. Young, may I say something before you ask me any questions?
Of course.
I love my brother, and I'm not deserting him while he's in trouble. But neither my husband nor I ever suspected that he was a communist. But we didn't even know what he was doing in this country.
Perhaps you still can help us. Your brother says a man named Christopher visited you here. What can you tell us about him?
Well, let me see.
Can you give us a description of him?
Well, he was kind of a stocky man. Not too tall. He had sort of brown hair and heavy face. And I think he was I think he was about middle 30s.
Did he speak with an accent?
No, he didn't.
How long was he here?
About an hour.
Mm-hmm. Did he tell you what he did for a living?
I think he said something about chemistry.
Was he married?
I don't think he said anything about that one way or the other.
Did he mention any city besides New York?
Yes, he did. He told me he came here by train from... Oh, yes, he said Philadelphia. That's about all I can remember about him.
Well, if you think of anything else, I'd appreciate your calling me. Now the full resources of your FBI were put to work. Every tenant in the large New York apartment house where Dr. Panola had lived was questioned. Some were scattered to distant points on the map, but each was located. Did any of them furnish any information? No. Former employees and scientists at the two atomic centers where Dr. Panola had been stationed were interviewed. Did they know anything about a heavy-set chemist whose name might be Christopher? No. In Santa Fe, inquiries were made at bus, air tablets, railway ticket offices. Hotel registers were analyzed, again with no results. A list of chemists was compiled from the city records of New York and Philadelphia. Of the tens of thousands who were possible suspects, 15% were immediately eliminated because they were women. Other thousands were removed from the list because of discrepancies in age, physical appearance. Gradually, the number was pared to 1,000, then 500, then 100, then 1. Jim, there's a chemist in Philadelphia named Craig. He might be Christopher, no? Here's his description.
Thanks. Born Russia. Where'd you get his name?
It was on the list of chemists, and it was in our files. We questioned him back in 1947.
Oh, about what, Tom?
Well, he was described as a communist suspect by a chemical engineer in New York, a fellow named Grimes.
Spoken to this Grimes?
He's dead.
Oh. Where's Craig now?
Working as a chemist for a hospital in Philadelphia.
Oh.
Before that, he was with the Philadelphia Sugar Company. I've gone over their employment records, and Craig either reported sick or was on vacation on the dates Panola claims he met the courier.
You interviewed Craig yet?
No, that's where I'm going now. I'm looking for Mr. Craig.
I'm Craig. You waiting for a test?
No, I'm Inspector Young of the FBI. Here are my credentials.
Mm-hmm. Well, what can I do for you, Mr. Young?
When you find time, I'd like to ask you a few questions.
Why don't we do it now?
Fine.
By the way, what am I charged with?
Well, nothing yet.
I know I couldn't be. I haven't done anything. Ask me any questions you like.
In questioning a suspect, it sometimes is a better course of action for a special agent to make his first few queries very general, covering vital statistics. Other times, an agent will attempt to employ the element of surprise and make his first question the big one. I showed Craig a picture of Dr. Panola. This man familiar?
Of course, that's Dr. Panola.
You know him?
Sure, everybody does after the publicity he got.
Is that why you recognize his picture?
Yes, I saw it often enough in the papers.
Have you ever seen Dr. Panola in person?
No, not that I know of. Why, was he in Philadelphia?
I don't know. Tell me, Mr. Craig, where did you work before you got this job at the hospital?
At a sugar company.
How was your health in those days?
Oh, not very good. As a matter of fact, that's why I took this job. I was ill quite a lot at the sugar company. When I took sick leave, they docked me for the days I missed.
Did you go anywhere on those sick leaves?
Oh, sometimes to New York to see a show. Usually I stayed home.
Did you take any trips to New England?
Never been there in my life.
About the uranium.
Did you take any vacations while you were at the sugar company?
2 weeks each summer.
Did you spend them taking trips?
No, I'm one of those unusual people, I guess. I just never was bitten by the travel bug. I like it here.
Well, I guess that would mean that you've never been out west, say to New Mexico or California.
I went to Pittsburgh last year to the chemist convention. That's as far west as I've ever gone.
Mm-hmm. You know many chemists?
Yes, of course.
Did you happen to know a chemical engineer in New York named Grimes?
Grimes, yes. He died last year.
Oh, did he?
Well, at least that's what I heard.
Tell me, would you have any objections to my taking some pictures of you?
Not at all.
But why? Well, we'd like to use them in connection with an investigation.
I see.
You can refuse, of course, to grant permission.
I have no objection.
I brought along a camera, but I'm afraid we don't have enough light in here.
No, I don't.
Can we go outside and take them now?
Try.
At noon, I started to shoot pictures of Craig. By 2:30, the film was delivered to the FBI laboratory in Washington. They were developed immediately and put aboard a plane to Europe. The following day, at the prison where Dr. Panola was in custody, the pictures were shown to him. He leaned forward in his chair and studied the screen intently. Proof that the right man had been found could now be had if Dr. Panola identified Craig. The room was quiet except for the whir of the movie projector. All right, stop. That man is not Christopher. After Dr. Panola's discouraging words, we ran the film again, this time for the doctor's sister in New England. If she could make a definite identification, it would be almost as valuable as Dr. Panola's. She couldn't. In spite of this, we at FBI headquarters were still sure Craig was the man we wanted. I was in my office the following day when... Young.
Hello, Mr. Young. This is Leonard Craig.
Oh, hello. How are you?
Pretty good, thanks. Say, I thought of something after you left.
Oh, yeah? What was that?
Maybe I'd like to look around my room.
Somebody's throwing their washing machine against the wall.
Well, in order to get a search warrant, I'd have to say what I expected to find in your room.
You don't need a search warrant.
Oh, I do, unless you're willing to give me your permission.
That's why I called.
Will you put that permission in writing?
Of course.
Well, fine. When can we meet?
All right. I'll be home around 6:30.
I'll be there. That evening, he was again as polite and cooperative as possible. He suggested I start with a table beside his bed. That's where he kept a lot of his papers.
If there's anything you don't understand, you're glad to explain.
Thank you.
Maybe a few scraps of paper with chemical data. Maybe even I won't understand it now. Oh, that's a chemical journal. Whenever an item of interest was found, Craig was ready to give an explanation. He was supremely confident. He seemed to have an answer for every question. We worked our way through each drawer of the table and then around the room to the bookcase. Mind if I look through your books? Not at all. And there's something behind them. They're paperback mysteries. Oh, I hide them so my friends won't find out I'm not an intellectual. I see. Wait a minute. Looks like there's something back in the bookcase. You mind if I move it out? No, not at all. Yeah, that'll be enough. What did you find? A city map of Santa Fe. Huh? Maybe whoever had this room before me left it. You think the former tenant also marked the Castillo Street Bridge on the map? Well, you said you never been west of Pittsburgh. Was that true? Mr. Craig, would you like to tell me the whole story? Tried in federal court, Leonard Craig was sentenced to a long term in a federal penitentiary.
That's a long term.
And now a word from the star of tonight's program, Mr. George Murphy. Ladies and gentlemen, I should like to take this opportunity to tell you about one of the most exciting things that has ever happened to me. Last fall, I had the privilege of working in a new motion picture called Walk East on Beacon, a picture adapted from FBI cases, photographed and portrayed as it happened with the complete cooperation of the Federal Bureau of Investigation. This is an important picture for you to see because it shows exactly how the agents of a foreign government operate. It is an exciting picture, and there's a realness and honesty about it that you won't forget. It's a picture that Americans, both old and young, should see. I would like to thank Mr. J. Edgar Hoover for selecting me to play the part of Inspector Belden. It was one of the most exciting experiences of my life. And as for your FBI, ladies and gentlemen, in this troubled world, we should thank God every night for this wonderful group of men. The finest, most efficient, most self-sacrificing, best public servants in the world. As long as we have the FBI, we need not fear for the future of America. I think you will enjoy seeing how they protect you and your country and Walk East on Beacon.
Thank you, Mr. Murphy. Now, if you are interested in planning for future security and peace of mind of yourself and your family, why not talk to the man in your community who can help you most? Your local Equitable Society representative will be glad to discuss your problems with you at any time and without any obligation. Throughout the United States, there are more than 8,000 of these insurance specialists. To get in touch with your local Equitable Society representative, simply consult your local telephone directory. The Equitable Life Assurance Society of the United States. Next week, we will dramatize another case from the files of the Federal Bureau of Investigation. Its subject, impersonation. Its title, The Punch and Judy Shakedown. The incidents used in tonight's Equitable Life Assurance Society's broadcast are adapted from the files of the Federal Bureau of Investigation. However, all names used are fictitious, and any similarity thereof to the names of places or persons, living or dead, is accidental. Tonight, George Murphy was starred as Inspector Young. The music was composed and conducted by Frederick Steiner. The author was Jerry D. Lewis. Your narrator was William Woodson, and Special Agent Taylor was played by Stacey Harris. Others in the cast were Whitfield Connor, Ted DeCorsia, Isabel Jewell, and Tom Tully. This is Your FBI is a Jerry Devine production. This is Larry Keating speaking for the Equitable Life Assurance Society of the United States and the Equitable Society's representative in your community, and inviting you to tune in again next week at the same time when the Equitable Life Assurance Society will bring you another thrilling transcribed story from the files of the Federal Bureau of Investigation. The Punch and Judy Shakedown on This Is Your FBI.
Stay tuned for Edgar Bergen and Charlie McCarthy.
I don't think the onion's going to live much longer.
Magic trick number 7. The famous disappearing window crack trick. It's not that big a trick, really. We just got rid of it. It was always the first part of a casement window to fail. So now Magic uses a patented parallax system, and every window is guaranteed for 40 years. You know, some tricks are really obvious once you look at them closely. Find out more at magicwindow.ca. It's not really magic. It's just better, smarter thinking.
Don't wait until there's a problem. Come in now, especially if you're age 60 and over. Come in and get the test.
That's Julian Price, chief audiologist with Hearing Life.
And then you know where you stand.
We're not worried about hearing. I'll be deaf in my house and I'm not dying of a goddamn cold, goddamn it.
The average is 7 years.
So they're suffering for 7 whole years with hearing loss. And everybody knows it, including them. And I do think a lot of people just don't realize what they're missing.
If you can't hear it, you don't know what you're missing.
You're not hearing it all. And that's where I hope that family and friends get a little more active and vocal.
Like Julian says, don't wait until you have a problem. Get tested.
Getting a hearing test is very easy.
Do it for your family. Do it for yourself. Hearing Life now has virtual services. Go to hearinglife.ca for details. That's hearinglife.ca.
Hearing Life cannot die. My hearing care clinic for life.
Previously on Dave's Corner Garage.
Well, Dave, your dad used to sell cars back in the old days, eh?
Yep.
How much was a good used car back then?
$250. Or lease for $179 a month for 24 months, 10,000 miles per year. By $179 a month, we mean $1.79 for well-qualified customers. No deadbeats. 99 cents due at least Sunday.
Is that with tires?
Program subject to change without notice. Tires extra. Join us next time in Dave's Corner Garage, Saturday morning at 10 on Zoomer Radio and online at davescornergarage.com.
Man, outsmart stupid.
Zoomer.
Time now for Edgar Bergen to prop up his little wooden dummy friend and go for some laughs when they welcome actress June Allison.
Coca-Cola brings you Edgar Bergen with Charlie McCarthy.
What is this? No, I was paying attention. You might be tripping and listening to something.
It's Sunday night and time again for Edgar Bergen with Charlie McCarthy. With Mortimer Slurd and Ray Noble and his orchestra, the Mellow Men brought to you each week by the Coca-Cola Company. Tonight's special guest is the lovely lady of the screen, Miss June Allison. And now, Edgar Bergen with Charlie McCarthy.
This one is very good. It's gotta be.
Yes, I know, honey, but I gotta hang up now, my kumquat. Yes. Well, they've announced me.
Charlie, get off that telephone.
Yes. Did you get your allowance, Dave?
Oh, good.
Now you can take me out tonight.
Really, Charlie?
So long, my tangerine. I'll be squeezing you.
Charlie, I just couldn't help overhearing your conversation.
Why? Was the extension phone caught in your ear?
No. I can't believe that you talk to a girl that way. Who is she?
Well, let's just say she's a good skate, what pays the freight.
Oh, I see. I can't understand this younger generation. Why, when I was growing up, everybody was a gentleman.
You mean there weren't any women at all?
Oh. Sure. I mean, we acted like gentlemen.
Oh.
Apparently, you don't know what a gentleman is.
Oh, sure. A gentleman is a wolf with patience.
All right.
Charlie. Well,
next time you see this girl of yours,
yes,
why don't you try talking about music and art, and why don't you quote poetry?
Oh, no. No, I tell you, Bergen, girls don't take that kind of punishment today.
Oh, they
Well, you just try it and see what she does. I know what she'll do. She'll conk me on the head with her baseball bat. Her baseball bat? Yeah, sure. She's homicide Ida. Oh, she is? Yes. She's the catcher on our baseball team. Oh, some girl. You can say it, yes. Strong as an ox, and twice as pretty. Ah, yes, times have changed. Yeah. Charlie, I want to remind you that June Allison is coming by to see us, and I wish you'd remember your party manners.
Did you say June Allison?
Yes. Now, there is my big moment. Yes. You know, she's just as cute as a button. Yes. Now, I'd like to get my button hooks on her. I want you to think of yourself as a gallant knight, and conduct yourself as one of King Arthur's men. Oh, now, those were wonderful days. Were you happy then, Bergen? Oh, I wasn't born then. Oh, look, I see June Allison headed this way. Oh, my heart is turning a handspring. Here we are, Junie.
Hello, Edgar. Hello, Charlie.
Junie, it's good to see you. Yeah, we were just talking about romance and chivalry, you know. Tell me, do you feel spoony, Junie?
That I do, Goonie.
All right. June, I was telling Charlie if he would conduct himself as a knight of King Arthur's time, he would be the most popular boy at school.
You are absolutely right, Edgar. I'm sure everyone would think that
They think that I was nuts.
Yeah, I agree with you. It would not fit in with our times. But I would have adored living in those days with all the knights in their shining armor.
Well, what was so great about that?
Well, it would have been so much fun shopping for canned goods.
Why?
In those days, even the men were put up in tins.
Jude. You're ashamed, aren't you, now?
Oh, I can't fix this.
I told you not to say it. Dude, I remember seeing you in the MGM picture. What was the name of that MGM picture men put up in tins? No. That one will live to haunt you.